Order this regular meeting of the Old Saybrook Water Pollution Control Authority on Monday, March 23rd, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. in the Town Hall cafeteria. George, would you call the roll, please?
I shall. Elsa Payne, Chairman, absent. Ian Featherstone, Vice Chairman.
Present.
George D. Gwiz, Secretary, present. Chuck Worley.
Present.
John F. Claffey, Jr.
Present.
Jason Becker, should be a few minutes late. Robert Mazzell, absent. Peter Stump, alternate.
Present.
And Robert Zenger, alternate.
Present.
Roll call taken, Vice Chairman Featherstone.
Thank you. All right. In the absence of three regular members, both alternates will be seated tonight.
Okay, seated.
Okay. Item 3, Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Right behind you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes from March 9th?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of March 9th.
Second.
Okay, any discussion or comments on those? Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. All right, comments from members and chairman. Members?
I just had a few which I got out of the paper for everybody in Saybrook, and they did quite a job on what the WPCA has been doing to them also. And you can see, I won't go through the details, but they've listed the benefit assessments for everybody and all other information. I just want to read a couple of points out of one of their letters, which was entitled WPCA Adopts the New Benefit Assessment. And I just want to read a couple of these things here. One is the WPCA also adopted initial benefit assessments for hard construction costs for the final 61 properties in Phase 1. For each of these owners, his or her share of the cost is equal to 50% of the total cost. Next statement down here is all homeowners in Phase 1 of the Clean Water Fund will receive 2 bills in May 2015. Their share of the property assessment for hard costs. The other will be for 1/20th of the 975 construction management cost shares plus interest. The interest charged on the 20-year Clean Water Fund loan is 2%. And anybody in the program can choose to pay the amount of 20 years in annual installments. Also, to date, 45 homeowners have an option of paying the full amount up front instead of 20 years. But we just have a few of them that have paid it. Anyone who is 65 years and older or disabled who meets the income guidelines and for whom the home is in their primary residence can qualify, Jerry Lewis said. In the last statement I'll read, it's for 2015 year to qualify, a single filer's adjusted gross income on a federal income tax form cannot exceed $35,200, while a couple filing jointly to qualify could not have an AGI above $43,400. Any questions, a homeowner can call the WPCA in town. And I think that covers quite a bit of what is being done for everybody in Saybrook, but thank you all.
Thanks, George. Anybody else? Okay, I don't have anything tonight. So we'll move right on to number 6, staff reports. Gracia?
Just your attention to the second piece of paper that I gave you that is entitled Benefit Assessment Summary for Phase 1. Just for you to look at. This is, we're going before the Board of Finance tomorrow night on our operating budget, and normally they have very few questions about the operating budget itself, because it doesn't change much from year to year. But it is an opportunity for them to question us and for us to give them information regarding the program as a whole. And we thought that they would like to see what the benefit assessment activity was for phase one. And so I thought maybe you'd like a copy of what we're gonna give them. It's an overwhelming amount of figures, but
They're the Board of Finance.
well, we would hope so.
I would agree.
I'm going to, that is going to be my some comment at that point. And moving on to invoices. If you look at this and you have questions about it for the next meeting. Okay, invoices. We have Crad, Fuss and O'Neill, Shipman and Goodwin, and the Killingworth Garage and Diesel. How would you like them broken out for you, or do you want to take them as a whole?
We could do them in 3 separate ones. Crad first, then the Fuss and O'Neill and the Shipman and Goodwin, and then the Killingworth Garage.
Okay, Crad is for professional services for February, for $1,099.98. Fuss and O'Neill is for services for January in the amount of $6,226.08. And for February, Fuss and O'Neill, $8,945.98.
Okay, we'll take these, the Crad separately. Is our motion to pay the Crad bill?
I'll make a motion, we pay the CRAD bill totaling $1,099.98.
I second.
Okay. Anything on here out of the ordinary, or is it just the
No,
usual?
it's primarily work that they're doing in Maple Avenue North.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of paying the bill to Crad signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, abstain?
Me. No, I, meaning from the person.
Let the record show, John, so I think
The
about
personal
it.
pronoun, I.
Okay. All right, fine.
The Fuss and O'Neill are broken down on your financial report as to what they comprise.
Okay, is there a motion to pay the 2 Fuss and O'Neill bills in the amounts of $8,945.98 and $6,226.08?
So made.
I'll second that motion.
Are you gonna combine that with Shipman and Goodwin, or?
We've got them, we'll do them separately at this point.
Okay.
I was going to, but that's... All right, anything on here? These are pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Could I see the February?
Sure. Which one's February? This one's February. No, that's January, sorry, this one's February. Hello, Jason.
Jason.
Anybody want to see the bill?
Okay, any other, you good?
Yeah, good.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of paying the 2 bills to Fuss and O'Neill signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Guess technically me, because I wasn't here for it.
Okay, that's fine. So the record should show that Jason arrived at 7:39. That's for the recording. Okay.
And the last 2 bills, received today. I got them out to you, but I know you haven't had them for a while. Shipman and Goodwin for legal services for the month of February in the amount of $9,513.85.
Okay, we'll take that one for now.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to pay the Shipman and Goodwin bill?
Make a motion that we pay the Shipman and Goodman bill totaling $9,513.85.
I'll second.
Okay, Gracia, you were beginning to explain.
I'm broken out for you on the financial reports as to the areas in which,
So is the CRAD for the negotiation of the new contract? What's?
yes. We're still working on the amendment and the joint defense agreement.
Okay.
Do they have their own lawyer this time that's involved? Or is it?
Yes. And my understanding is that it's being reviewed at this time by their attorney.
Really look at the details.
Okay, any other questions or? No, good. All right. All those in favor of paying the bill to Shipman and Goodwin signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay.
Okay, the final bill is from Killingworth Garage and Diesel, Inc. It is vehicle maintenance on the GMAC truck in the amount of $3,975.48. And it's, for those of you who want to see,
I saw it already.
Okay, is there a motion to pay this bill to Killingworth Garage and Diesel?
Make a motion that we pay this discussed bill to Killingworth Garage and Diesel totaling $3,975.48.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And there is a lot.
yeah,
That is by far our most expensive to maintain vehicle since,
well, it's our biggest one.
yeah, right. It's time to,
Yeah.
I could have asked before, but next time probably want to see how much we spent on that in the last year.
Actually, under vehicle maintenance, and we've completed the maintenance on the Crown Vic, and that was about 1,000 or so.
Yeah, those two
altogether,
are
and
10,000.
the van is another.
They're not bad.
So it's, and relatively speaking, considering what this new vehicle is used for and everything, it's probably, I'm told that it is not unreasonable.
Yeah. It has a limited life. It's not going to be on the road forever. So the expense goes away eventually. It was,
Could we end its life?
well, then we have to replace it with something very expensive, so I don't know that that makes sense, but
I remember a comment sometime last year that we didn't need such a vehicle, and I disagree with that. We need a substantial work vehicle for the crews to use and to haul the track hoe. To do otherwise is foolish and asking for problems. And it could easily turn into a bigger expense if you try to replace it with whatever, F-350 or something else. And that's expensive also. And the
Right.
maintenance on those are expensive.
I think when we bought that, wasn't if you bought it brand new, this was used.
yeah.
Yes.
When we bought it brand new, it was like 150, somewhere around.
It was over 100,000.
It was over 100,000.
The question
It was a lot of money.
It was a lot if you were
Yeah.
to buy it new,
this
and we
one
paid
was 30
30-something for it. Yeah.
35, 36,000.
I tend to agree with you. it's a piece of used equipment and this is what you get.
I'm
But it
keeping
also,
it zipped.
well, it has a limited shelf life, so see if we can get it to work through for the rest of the project and then send it on its way. All right, any other comment on that? All right, all those in favor of paying the Killingworth Garage and Diesel signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay.
And my last thing here, on the agenda is the Phase 2 Clean Water Fund application update. The financials have all been, documents have all been signed on our end and on Brad's and attested by the AG's office. And I talked to Bruce today, and Bruce has a formal closing at the treasurer's office at 2:30 tomorrow afternoon.
Good.
And the first requisition for Phase 2 will go in April 1st, more or less, give or take.
Great. Good news.
Yes, thanks for the hard work.
Okay, Robbie?
Just a few things. Bid the Maple Avenue 2 pre-bid on March 11th. We had another virtual site walk. And if anyone wants to see it, it's on the website. That went well. Maple Avenue, we're still collecting the data. We're putting it up on the XUP for Buckland, for the 5 contracts in Maple. So this field crew would like to do soil testing starting April 1st. And that's going to be Maple Avenue in Newtown. We have 76 responses from Newtown out of 182. It's starting to slow down a little bit. But it's come to, we're finding out that there's some that are good.
So Maple Avenue North is pretty much done with soil tests?
Yeah. One of the soil tests, we had stock for the winter.
Yeah, yeah.
So the contracts are all arranged, but we still have outstanding soil
Okay.
tests.
So going back to, we released the contact, or this contract is for Ingham Hill and Meadowwood
That's the
1.
one that we're looking at tonight.
Right,
That's coming up.
The
yes,
one we released is Meadowwood 2.
okay,
And that's coming
Okay.
in April 2nd.
okay.
We started desktop reviews of Indiantown. I sat down with Pam, we went through all the files, just to get an idea what the designations might be. Anti-leaching, there's no leaching. Before we go over to CRED, it's nice to have a little chart. Into that. And the last thing is we have a special meeting April 6th. Chuck's available, and did you say two?
Let me look before I speak, but as far as I know, I am available. But
I'm just trying to get a quorum, because we're going, right Pierce is gonna be here.
Okay, I should be available.
yes,
Oh,
yes,
I'm here.
I'm in town. I'm available.
So, we'll get you out the agenda next week. And that's 5:30 upstairs, second floor.
I should have asked that question, 5:30.
5:30.
Yes, I'm still available.
I should put that in. I forget the time change all the time.
Was it 5:30 or 5?
It started at 5, but then they said, can we just push it a little bit? So it's gonna be 5:30.
Yeah,
So you're gonna send out an agenda, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
That's it.
yeah, that's it, all right. Is there an update from the program manager tonight?
Nope.
Okay. All right, item number 7, old business. Anything? Nothing? Okay, then let's move into item 8, new business, the Meadowwood 1 bid award.
So basically, you had 2 bids. We came in at $340,050. The second one, the higher one, was $398,700. You skip down a little bit, you see there's a little error, $2,000. So the correct amount is $342,050. And once again, at the back of the bid book, I was drawing attention, he put all zeros. I don't know if Grace wants to speak to that or not, but he said he takes responsibility, and he's not gonna charge more than $0 for the items at the back of the book.
All right, I saw his response. Basically, he's saying that if he runs into any of these categories, the cost is on him.
Yep. And the thing that we have to be very careful of is the plumbing, because plumbing is an allowance, and on a technical procedural basis, if you remember, it's a long time since you've been doing construction invoices, but there is an allowance cover sheet, and required behind the allowance cover sheet is the actual bill from the plumber. So Jim Benoli and I and everybody else is on point to make sure that we carefully go over every plumber's bill. Make sure that there is no plumbing labor on it, because Jeff zeroed out plumbing labor in the back of the book.
A question?
Yeah.
And the big item that I noticed there was the item 8 effluent pump system. Quantity 5, JTR had that at 0, and Olmsted had that at 7,500 each for 37.5. So, just to verify, JTR will be providing the effluent pump systems, or only if they're necessary?
I believe that's only if they're necessary, right?
If they're necessary, and if you look at some of the items, because I asked the same question. If you look at the front of the sheet for the tank and the leaching, you'll notice that some of the leaching numbers are much larger than others, and that's, as Jeff told me, that is how he accommodated, he identified what properties would require, or he felt that would require an effluent pump system, and he put those dollars in his quote for the leaching system.
Okay.
Right, it does look like he does have,
Yeah,
when you
I
look
noticed
at
that too.
2.27,
That
he's got
was- I asked the same
$15,000.
question, that was the answer I got.
Right.
And, okay, but ultimately, it would be CRAD who would make the decision as to whether, you know, that effluent pump system would be needed. In other words, we don't want this contractor cutting corners.
No, and he would not. I mean, if this was a brand new contractor we'd never worked for before, I probably would be a little more excited about it.
Right, well, I mean, I'm just looking at it and seeing 0.
Well,
I think that he has accommodated within his bid those properties he feels are likely to have a pump system. Where he gets in trouble with this strategy is if he discovers a property that he thought was good to go,
right.
and for some reason that nobody knew about ahead of time, really is going to require a pump system. In that case, he has to eat it.
Right.
And, you know, Fuss and O'Neill has called him on this. So there is sufficient paper trail, I think, for us to have a certain comfort level that there is this obligation that, you know, this contractor will have to meet if it's necessary, so.
Well, we had an incident in Fenwood too, where Olmsted zeroed out something in the back of the book, and it cropped up. And he had to do the work, and he ate the cost of that work, so.
So the way, also the way I read this, if they encounter unexpected rock, there's 0 cost reimbursement for,
Well, I think that
or they just move to a new location.
Yeah, and if you notice in the language there, it's not only extra work, but they're not allowed, he's not gonna be allowed to submit the cost as part of a change order.
Right. No, it's pretty clearly defined.
Kurt put in the words, the language change order, so.
Okay.
So this looks like a pretty good value.
Yeah. How many, do you know off the top of your head, how many properties were in this Hingham Hill 1, Meadowood 1? How many, I mean, I could add them up, but how many, 30?
27.
27? Okay.
Yeah, considering the lay of the land, I think it's a pretty good value.
If I could take a moment to ask a different question. In previous bid situations, I've looked at items like this as contingency, if you will, for discovery of unexpected conditions while they're trying to do the work. So you have a unit price, but if it's added, if they should encounter such a thing, and that's competitively bid. So they're just not allowed to bill for unexpected conditions in our case. Is that
Of the line items, of the 19 line items, they've said 0, so if there's tree removal, they just have to take care of it.
Yep.
He seems to have done his homework. He's looked at all the properties and he's decided what needs to be done, so he's included it in the upper part of the cost, which is good, that's fine.
Okay.
It
I'd
was-
make sure I was understanding,
What he says, they've clarified it with him, he agrees in writing that those items will not be charged without change orders.
Yes.
And Dennis will be looking at them and everything that I submit as well, because the minute that we sent the bids up, emailed them up to Dennis, he was on the phone. And there was a discussion that we might, or there ought to be restrictions on the installers bidding zeros at the back of the book. And that's all good and well, except for the follow-up question, how do you enforce it? And that then becomes, from a practical standpoint, that becomes problematic. But there's also the question of whether we have, or how much of a right we have to restrict somebody's bidding strategy.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
there was discussion at the time.
Okay, all right, would somebody like to make the motion to award the Ingham Hill 1, Meadowwood 1 contract to JTR LLC as the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $342,050?
I would.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Okay, any further discussion?
No.
All right, all those in favor of awarding the bid to JTR LLC signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, very good. Okay, anything else under new business? All right, public comment.
I have a little FYI for you, Ian.
Yes, sir?
As a local surveyor, John knows that I work with a local surveyor. One of the recent as-bills provided by one of your contractors for the septic system, when he went to take it to recreate with the dimensions provided, that system, it didn't work. So maybe it's just 1 in a million, everyone, that, you know, a number guy transcribed, you know, you see 25, you write 52. But in this case, it's an FYI to you that it is incorrect information getting out to the public.
Okay. Would you like to present that information to the WPCA with the specifics
I
on it?
don't have the specific address with me, Ian. I certainly could do that if you want to. I just, I don't know if you police that or not. I wish Steve was here, ladies, so that I could have his ear too. But, for example, on Marcy's property, because I do this, as-built, I did my own as-built on her property. I know where everything is. But there's other owners out there like that who are not contracted with, I'll say who the contractor was on the property, Olmsted.
Okay.
Okay. not contracted with him, you are, and you don't know that that information is getting out to the public. So I'm just trying to tell you.
I appreciate the input.
Good,
Absolutely.
okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I'm
Good.
trying to be positive tonight, Ian.
We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate the comment. I'd like to ask you, that should also be noted in our field reports, that there was I would assume that our field reports from our own crews would indicate that there was a problem with the as-bills.
Well, I think that if you could get the
You want me
address,
to get the
if you
specific
could get the
address.
specific address,
The
so we can turn
surveyor
it
wanted
over
to
to.
stay anonymous, because he's a local surveyor, he
That's-
wanted to stay
that's-
anonymous.
That's fine.
So, well, if I provide the address and his survey goes on file, then everyone knows. So it's just
can
more an
investigate.
FYI, I'm hoping that it's 1 in a million issue. I know it's not a problem at Marcy's house,
Okay,
because I took care of that myself.
okay.
Well, without the address, we can't,
I
we can't
understand,
look
Rachel.
into it, but I understand what you're saying
Yeah,
as well.
if they're haphazardly taking the money and running from you folks as, you know, the contract holder, you know, and they're the contractor, the owner under that doesn't have any recourse. Like, Marcy has no recourse if her as-bill turned up wrong. In this case, I believe the house is a sale, so the new owner, of course, wants to know everything about his property, and if we can't lay out the as-built in the building permits, then it's, so, I'm hopeful that it can either be resolved, maybe your site inspector can double-check numbers as they're being
Well,
paid.
I'll,
It's a simple.
You've made the point, and it's good, and the
And I'll
field crew
talk
can
to
look,
Jim.
and we can,
I'll-
that's fine.
Thank you.
That's perfectly fine. Plus,
I'll
make
talk
it
to Jim.
sure it's part of the minutes as well, because then some of the other bidders, the bidders as they bid this process can be aware that it's been
They're
raised.
licensed installers, they're
Correct.
not licensed surveyors.
That's correct. Okay,
Well, I'll
Very
talk to
Thanks.
Jim
Thank you very
about
much.
it.
all right.
I'll talk to
Thank you,
Jim
Gracia.
and make sure that.
Nothing?
I
He's
just
paying
wanted to bring it
attention.
up because
No, that's
it
good.
becomes public record.
So
And
should
then
not.
all of a sudden a surveyor can't use that information, and boy, I'll tell you, we go back 50, 60, 70 years, and that's how we find stuff, you know, from
Right.
that record. Wow.
Good point.
But I'm still,
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
All good.
good.
All right. All set? Okay. And we'll close the public comment, and is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn our meeting at 8:02 PM.
Okay.
You have time for
Second?
several cocktails
Second.
before the.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.